Hey guys, we are back with some more Atlanta Thrashers franchise mode, and in this one, we have the offseason of year number 4 coming up. So first things first, we got to re-sign some of our players. That would include Dubilowitz, Nash, Mckenzie, Stefan, and Ballard. I don't know about Ferraro because, he's 40 years of age, and he's actually kind of unhappy here. So we will start out by signing Dubilowitz. I know I want him back. He is asking for 1.6 mil for 3 years. Maybe not. That's quite a bit, at least in this day and age. So we'll come back to him. As for Rick Nash, he wants 2.3 for 5 years. He's 20 years of age. He does have that 3.5-star ability now, so he's getting better for sure. I believe is officially a first liner. That means he only had 26 points last year, but keep in mind he was out for a good portion of the season, only played 43 games. So I believe he'll be worth it. He's only 20 years of age as well. Yeah, I'd be willing to do this. Let's start out by giving him 2 mil, and we'll stick to the 5 years that he wants. Let's see his response. Okay, not there quite yet. I don't want to mess around here too much with the Rick Nash, so I'll give him 2.1. All right, we're getting there. 2.2. We're close. All right, we'll go up to 2.5, see what he says about that. There you go. So now Derek Mckenzie, he is unfortunately unhappy here, and it looks like he wants a pretty reasonable contract, $415,000 per year for 3 years, so I will definitely do that for him, and we'll submit that offer for him. Patrick Stefan, I would like to get him back. He had a decent defensive grade, 65, 61 overall. It wasn't great offensively, but that is not his role on this team. He is a defensive center. So we'll offer him a contract, and yeah, that's pretty reasonable for him, $470,000 for 2 years. Ballard, I didn't exactly like the way he simmed last year. He only had a 58 defensive grade as a defensive defenseman, or a two-way defenseman, I suppose. But I'll sign him for his age. He's only 22. He still has time to improve, so we will give him a contract as well. He's asking for $695,000 for 3 years. I will give that to him. Now, Ray Ferraro, he's 40 years of age, currently making 1.61, and he's also unhappy, so I don't think he's going to want to re-sign. Oh, wow, okay. He does want to re-sign, and he's actually asking for a lot less now, so I will, you know what, I'll take that. I will certainly take that. I'll give you what you're asking for here. And everybody else, I think we can release. I'll sign Gamachi just because he's a 1-star. He could be a good backup player to just sit in the AHL for a little bit, but everybody else is getting released to free agency. Actually, we do still need to sign Dubilowitz, as he was asking for quite a bit of money. He's currently making 1.14. He was asking for, I believe it was 1.6. What was his stats last year? He had a .917 save percentage in 43 games. Yeah, he's been pretty good. We'll give him the contract that, well, you know what? We'll negotiate with him a little bit. We'll start out with, I would say 1.4, and we'll go for the 3 years that he wants. Okay, that will not work for him. Let's go up to 1.5. 1.55. As for response, there you go. And Gamachi signs, Mckenzie signs, Rick Nash signs, Ballard, Dubilowitz, Ferraro, and Stefan all signed. So at this point, I believe there's not much left to do besides advance to the draft. And remember, we do have Calgary's first round pick. So I don't know how the lottery works in this universe, but presuming it works the same as it does in real life, we should have a pretty decent chance at getting that first overall pick, which of course, this is the Crosby draft, so that would be kind of huge for us. So that being said, we will simulate through the playoffs and see what happens with the draft lottery. So development report, you have Rick Nash growing in team player and Eric Stahl growing in determination. And the Hart Trophy winner is Nicholas Lidstrom. Daniel Alfredson wins the Conn Smythe. Jose Theodore wins the Vezina. The Norris goes to Lidstrom. The Calder goes to Ovechkin, of course. The GM of the Year goes to Pat Quinn on the Maple Leafs. The Selke goes to Dan Heino on Colorado. The Maurice Richard goes to Teemu Selanne. The Art Ross goes to Teemu Selanne. The Plus Minus Award goes to Rob Blake. John Burke wins the Saving Grace Award. Brent Johnson wins the Jennings Trophy. Alex Tanguay wins the Lady Byng. Chelios wins the Bill Masterton. Joe Sakic wins the Mark Messier Leadership Award. Lidstrom wins the Ted Lindsay Award. And the Jack Adams goes to Pat Burns. And all-star teams, Jose Theodore, Nicholas Lidstrom, Scott Niedermayer, Patrick Eliage, Saku Koivu, and Jerome McGinley make up the first team. And the second team, Alex Auld, Chris Pronger, John Michael Lyles, Paul Correa, Joe Thornton, and Jaromir Jagr. And the development report for May, Derek Mckenzie growing in screening, Nash growing in acceleration, Stahl growing in getting open, and Ballard growing in checking. And now we have the Hall of Fame voting. So we have Dave Taylor, Brian Propp, Mark Howe, Steve Larmer, Bobby Smith, Doug Wilson, Brian Bellows, Dale Hunter, Brad McCrimmon, Kevin Hatcher, Dave Babbitt, Rick Middleton, Andy Bathgate, Kevin Lowe, and Neil Broughton. I'm going to say Howe, Larmer, Smith, and Hunter. And here we go. Season summary. Positive categories should be none of them. Yes, indeed. And negative categories, losing season, failed to reach the playoffs. We didn't get the last two, so we got a total season score of 7. Awesome. And we got 1 point to use on our GM ratings. We will put that into negotiating skill. And there it is. Ray Ferraro has retired. As he says, the childhood dream is complete. And he is now riding off into the sunset. So we're going to need to find a replacement for Ray Ferraro. And hopefully that comes in the form of a certain center available in the draft this year. Oh, and this is also the season that the salary cap has been introduced. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as well. There he is, boys. Sidney Crosby available in the draft. But unfortunately, it looks like we do not have the first overall pick. That belongs to the Philadelphia Flyers. In fact, we fall back to 7 and 9 with our 2 picks. So still pretty good, but I don't imagine we'll be getting any of these guys up here. They should all be going in the top 5. We might be able to get our hands on someone like Letang. That would be pretty nice. Maybe Ben Bishop. Certainly have our options, but I don't think we're going to be getting Crosby, unfortunately. Taking a look at free agency now, there's really not much. Once again, there's Lindgren, Mats Lindgren, who is apparently the best ability available in free agency at 1.5 star, and then Weaver as well. But that is really about it. This is not really, this is unfortunate. One thing I do notice about these historical GM modes is that you don't often find players that you really want in free agency, at least not in the first few years. So it appears we're just going to have to build our team through the draft, but that's the way I like to do it anyway. So we are just going to advance to July 3rd. So that being said, let's get the draft underway. And the Philadelphia Flyers hold the first pick, and I'm pretty sure I know who it's going to be. But to build up the dramatic suspense, who's it going to be? Next pick, Tuukka Rask to the Philadelphia Flyers. My goodness. All right, so Crosby does not go first overall in his draft. There's, of course, still Carey Price, Anze Kopitar available. So we'll see what happens here, but I don't think Crosby will fall too much further. Next pick, Carey Price goes to the Chicago Blackhawks, 2 back-to-back goaltenders, and you gotta think Crosby's next, right? To the Dallas Stars. Let's see. Does Dallas take Crosby? Yes, indeed they do. So Crosby going to the Dallas Stars. Now let's see who is available for our pick. So Anze Kopitar goes to the Columbus Blue Jackets, Ben Bishop goes to the Buffalo Sabres, and Chris Letang goes to the Washington Capitals. So we have picks 7 and 9. We have Talbot available. There's Helm, there's Oshie, there's Pavlich, there's Mark Stahl, there's James Neal, there's Zuccarello. A lot of good players here. But I think it's probably going to be Oshie, given that out of all the top potential players, he has the highest star ability so far at a 1-star ability. So he'll be NHL ready sooner. Now, he does have quite the injury frequency with his head and his arms, but the rest of his body's durable. Offensive ratings are pretty good. Getting open is at 16. Mental ratings, they could be better, but I'm sure they'll improve as he gets older. Physical ratings, pretty good. Defensive ratings could be better, but he is a forward, and I would imagine he is more of a offensively based forward. So yeah, I don't think there's really too much of a debate on this one. I'll check out Helm. I would rather have Oshie. Talbot, honestly, if he's still there with the 9th pick, then we'll take Talbot with the 9th pick, but Oshie's got to be the guy here. Welcome to Atlanta, TJ Oshie. And Talbot goes to the Penguins with the 8th overall pick, so we now have the 9th overall pick, and we could take Helm, who has that 3.5-star ability, or we could take Pavlich. There's also Stahl, Neal, Zuccarello, Hansel, Hjalmarsson, all 3-star potential players. I mean, you know what? Pavlich went to the Thrashers in real life too, so why not take him here? Mark Stahl, he gets injured a little too much for my liking. That James Neal, offensive ratings are decent. Balance is good. Zuccarello, he's very durable and is sturdy in his head, as a matter of fact. He might take a while to get ready, though, with those kinds of ratings. Hansel, alright, he's pretty durable with the injuries. Pretty well-rounded as far as his ratings go, but he still might take a while to be NHL ready. Jalmerson, durable for injuries. As far as defensively, 16 for stick checking, not bad. And he can hold his own physically as well. I think I want to take the goaltender Ondrej Pavelec here. It only makes sense. He was on the Thrashers in real life too, so why not take him here? Welcome back to the Atlanta Thrashers, Ondrej Pavelec. So we're at pick number 37 now, and the quality of the prospects has definitely gone down. So far we've taken a winger and we have taken a goaltender, so I think we should probably take a defenseman here with this pick. There's Michael Sauer. Defensive ratings are alright. Mental ratings, middle of the road. Let's filter out all the forwards and the goaltenders. I just want to see defensemen for right now. So there's also Mark-Edouard Vlasic, Mark Fane, Jordy Ben, Maxim Noro. I mean, he's really very sturdy, pretty much throughout his whole body except for his arms, which even his arms are durable. So if you want stability, he would certainly be a good choice for an Ironman run. He's probably going to struggle. I just have this feeling. So I'm going to pass on him for right now. I think Vlasic might be the way to go here. Yeah, I think it's got to be Vlasic. He's the most well-rounded out of any of these guys, really, from what I'm seeing. So we will be taking Mark-Edouard Vlasic. Welcome to the Atlanta Thrashers. Pick number 52 now. You have Noro, Schlemko, Holden, and Lee being the only 1.5-star potentials available left. So let's just look through all of them here. Noro, he was that offensive defenseman. Schlemko, not bad. Holden, I prefer Schlemko. Brian Lee, it looks like he might get injured quite frequently. No. Definitely not. So I think it's either Schlemko or Noro. Noro is good offensively, and he's rarely going to get injured, if at all. And David Schlemko, he's better defensively. What about his mental categories? Determination 9, leadership 9, team player 11. What about Noro? They're essentially the same for the mental ratings. So I think here we are going to be taking David Schlemko. Welcome to the Atlanta Thrashers. So the only 1.5-star defenseman left is Brian Lee, and I don't really like those ratings, so I'm going to pass on him. So we will stop filtering for defensemen, and we'll just look at everyone available. And there's still only 2 1.5-star prospects, the other one being Drazanovich. Nick Drazanovich, very sturdy. I like that. Ratings, not great. Really not great, but it's either him or Lee at this point as far as potential goes. And we've already taken 2 defensemen in this draft, so we may as well take a center in Nick Drazanovich. Welcome to Atlanta. At this point, we are at pick 97 and now down to the 1-star players. So, I think we're just going to go and let the CPU finish the draft because there's the computer guessing here is as good as me guessing. It really is. The 1-star players don't turn out to be much too often, so we'll just skip through all of that and get on with the rest of the offseason here. So let's check out our prospects list. You have TJ Oshie, of course. You have Peter, who we drafted. When did we draft him? Contract, we drafted him in 2002 with a 6th-round pick. If anything, he could definitely be a minor league player for us, if not possibly a replacement player in the NHL, and maybe if he grows, he could even become a regular in the NHL, so we will definitely be signing Peter. Emmanuel Peter, he wants $436,000 for 3 years. We will give him that. There's also Eric Christensen, who has a D scouting level, so that might not be his ability at a 1.5-star. But considering the fact that he's 21 and we released a lot of our minor league team, I think we can afford to go after him here. So we will give him a contract and submit that offer to him. Sorting by potential now, I think it's safe to sign Oshie. I was a little hesitant, but he's a 1-star. He should be able to hold his own in the AHL for the time being. So we will offer him a contract. And welcome to the Atlanta Thrashers. Pavelec, I think we're going to leave unsigned for right now. He's only a 0.5-star. I don't know how well he's going to hold up as a goaltender in the AHL, especially with a roster that's really trimmed down and probably not going to be good either. So I will leave him unsigned for right now. Letestu, I'll leave unsigned. Any half stars, we're going to leave unsigned for the time being. Salmela, we will sign. He is a 1-star, so we could use him for the AHL. Korpikoski is a 1-star ability and a 2.5-star potential, so we will definitely be signing him. We will sign Michael Garnett. He is a goaltender. We do need a goaltender down there in the AHL while we wait for Ondrej Pavlich. And Rod Pelly, he is a 1-star ability and a 1-star potential, so I wouldn't imagine he's going to be growing too much more, but we could definitely use him as some AHL depth. So I believe those are all the prospects we're going to be signing for right now. If any of them grow before the signing deadline, then we will definitely sign them, but for right now, I believe that will be it. And as far as our main roster goes, what do we need? We have 2 goaltenders. Actually 3 under contract, including our prospect goalie who we're about to sign. So we'll have 4 goaltenders. We should be all set there. Defensemen, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And forwards, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 13. So we're going to start by ability here. Tamer, he takes a lot of penalties, but he's got a solid defensive grade. Gamache, I don't think we really need him. I'll send him to Chicago. Nermanen's been solid for us for the past few years. Van Allen still has a 1.5-star rating, so we'll keep him on the roster. Anyone with a 1.5-star ability or above, we'll keep on the roster, basically. Because it's not like we're going to find anything much better in free agency, right? So I think this is pretty much our roster for the start of the season, unless we decide to make any trades. And we may very well have to, especially considering we don't have an extra forward. So actually, that's what we're going to do in free agency. We'll sign an extra forward that we can use in the NHL right away, because I don't think Oshie is going to be ready this year. I think I want to get him a full year in the AHL before I even consider calling him up. So I think we'll just sign Lindgren here. Mats Lindgren. What did he do last year? He actually played for 3 teams last year. The Bridgeport Sound Tigers had 26 points in 45 games played with the Hershey Bears for 6 games, and then looks like he was called up to the Colorado Avalanche for 2 games. We'll just give him a contract here. We'll give him, we'll go 1 year for $635,000. He's still asking for that 2-year deal, so I'll give him a little bit more as far as money goes, and there you go. Apparently, Lindgren thinks this offer is a joke, so we're gonna have to renegotiate with him. Meet his demand. So Eric Christensen and Anssi Salmela have signed. It looks like we need to assign them numbers. Christensen number 24 and Salmela 11 belongs to Stahl. We'll give you 10. Garnett, Pelly, and Oshie have all signed. Emmanuel Peter has signed, as well as Lauri Korpikoski, and now we have to give them numbers. Peter wants 17. That is Covey's number, so we will give him 70. And Korpikoski wants number 28. That belongs to Todd Reardon. So we will give Korpikoski 29. Mats Lindgren has signed, and I believe that should be it. As yes, indeed. So I believe we now have a full roster. And let's see, is Oshie NHL ready? Yeah, I didn't think so, especially with that 1-star potential. So we'll be sending him down to, you know what? We may as well keep him on the NHL roster until the regular season starts. Might be good for him to get some preseason experience, but we'll be sending down everybody else here. Rod Pelly. Are Peter and Lindgren NHL ready? Well, Lindgren's 30, so he'll just stay on the NHL roster no matter what. But actually, Peter is in fact NHL ready according to this, because there's no X next to his name here, is at least under the C category, which is for level of competition. So yeah, we might actually be able to keep Peter up here. And here's the roster currently with the Chicago Wolves. You can see why I didn't want to sign Ondrej Pavlich, because this is kind of what he's working with if he was to sign with us at the moment, and I don't think this team is going to be making too much noise down there in the AHL, or at least not at the moment. So now I believe all that is left is to advance into preseason, because I don't think there's much left to do here in the offseason. Unless, of course, we want to make a trade, which I would not be opposed to doing, but I don't know exactly who I would want to trade at the moment. So I think we'll just go into preseason, and we'll hopefully see some growth from our young guys. And the Hall of Fame inductions, you have Mark Howe, Brian Propp, Dave Taylor, and Steve Larmer. So a huge trade here as Mikko Koivu finds himself as a member of the Blues. Meanwhile, Corey Stillman going to Florida. And the training camp development report, you have Higgins growing in team player and bravery, Nash growing in bravery as well, Stahl growing in acceleration by 2 and positioning by 1, Mazzaros going in passing and stick checking, And then Oshie growing in speed, leadership, passing, offensive reads, stick checking, and defensive reads. So nice growth period there for him. So now we will take a look at our roster. And it appears that Oshie is a 1.5 star now. So is he NHL ready? It appears he is, actually. He apparently is, given that his level of competition X is no longer there. Maybe Oshie actually can play this year. That actually does open up a trade option if we want to. Actually, we may have to make a trade at this point, given that we have 3 extra forwards currently in Miller, Oshie, and Kallio. We definitely want Oshie playing, so it's down to Kallio and Miller. I would say we could probably trade Miller, given that he's 36 years of age. Probably not going to be around too much longer in this league, so now we will see what lines the coach comes up with, and based on that, we may be making a trade here. So he has Kallio in there. He took Svarvada out. He took Lindgren out. And Oshie is still out, apparently. And Mazaros is also out. Now, I do want Mazaros playing this year because he does have that 2-star ability, meaning he's NHL ready. So I might want to think about trading someone like Clark. And I think we're going to be trading Miller no matter what, because he didn't exactly have the greatest season last year. He only had 27 points, and he's making quite a bit of money there, 1.2 mil. Although that being said, there is a salary cap now, and as per there being a salary cap, there's also a salary floor, so we have to make sure we're meeting that salary floor. At 13 million, we are currently paying our players 25.8 million. So we should be fine if we trade away Kip Miller. So honestly, I think we might look for a trade for him now. You know what? It's time to start getting some proven players on board here. We are going to be trading Brett Clark, the rights to Mark Letestu, and a second-round pick for this year in the upcoming draft for Mike Comrie from the Edmonton Oilers. His injury tendencies, about normal. His arms are durable, so that's good. As career stats, he scored 53 points last year, 59 the year before that, 26 in his third year, but 50 in I believe that was the first year of simulation that we did, the 2001-2002 season. So overall, pretty impressive, and I definitely would not mind giving up a second-round pick for a proven player like Mike Comrie, in addition to Mark Letestu and Brett Clark, who we don't really need him anymore. And Mark Letestu, I'm sure he'll be a fine player when he grows, but that's when he grows, right? He's only 20 years of age right now. It's still only 1-star ability. It's going to be at least another couple of years, I would say, before he makes the NHL. So I'd really rather put all this into Mike Comrie, who is not only NHL ready now, but he is also top 6 ready. So Clark, Letestu, and a second for Mike Comrie off of that trade to the Edmonton Oilers. And I figured it made sense for Edmonton as well, right? Because they're looking for defense. And they also have quite a few centers. They have Bergeron, they have Hecht, who are both probably ahead of Comrie on the depth chart. And presuming we get Mike Comrie, that means we can then trade 2 forwards, because we're trading a defenseman here in order to get Mazaros some playing time. And then we can use those 2 forwards to get a better defenseman to replace Brett Clark. And the Edmonton Oilers have accepted our offer that would send Brett Clark, a second-round pick, and the rights to Mark Letestu to Edmonton in exchange for Mike Comrie. Complete this trade. Welcome to Atlanta, Mike Comrie. You know what? Sheen Donovan took a lot of penalty minutes last year, 72, and he is getting paid over $1 million, so I think we could afford to put him on the trade block. I actually really like our defensive core right now. Kaberle, Pitkanen, Mazaros, Reardon, Ludman, and Ballard. That looks pretty solid. I don't want to take away playing time from any of them. So what we're going to do, we're just going to trade for a draft pick, and then we will get a backup 7th defenseman, possibly out of free agency, possibly from our AHL team, or maybe even from our prospect list. But I don't think we need to trade for another top 4 defenseman, because I think Ludman, Pitkanen, Kaberle, and whichever of these other 3 are going to be on the top 4, they'll be able to hold it down pretty well. Especially if their defensive grades so far in the preseason are anything to go off of, because, I mean, these are absolutely fantastic defensive grades at the moment. So that being said, we are going to be trading Sheen Donovan so that we can free up the roster spot, and it will also allow us to get a pick in return. Probably going to be a second-round pick, I would have to say. Yeah, I don't think we'll get a first for him, but we might be able to get a second. Yes, all right. So the Islanders are looking for wingers, so this makes perfect sense for them. And they are, I believe, they're a balanced outlook, so they're trying to make the playoffs. And we just traded away our second-round pick for Mike Comrie, so this makes perfect sense for us. But unfortunately, it doesn't make sense to the Islanders because they already have 50 players under contract. That is just great. So we're going to have to try to find another team to trade with here. Okay, so Toronto's willing to trade their second round pick for Sheen Donovan. Will that work for them? Nope. All right, Anaheim. Will they accept this? Calgary? Oh my goodness. New Jersey? Okay. Jersey has accepted our offer for Sheen Donovan for a second round pick. Complete that trade. So that just about do it for this one, and in the next one we will get on with the Year 5 regular season. Now let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next one.